Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome to the Kyber Crystal Lounge and the premiere episode of Lounge Talk, a podcast where Star Wars fans can get together and talk about the greatest franchise in the world. This is going to be the first episode of many, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future interviews. My guest for this episode is the Supreme Emperor over at Wookieepedia. Supreme Emperor, welcome to the Kyber Crystal Lounge. Thanks for being here and talking with us.
No problem. Thank you for having us on. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I saw you guys on Twitter post for, doing like podcast interviews and everything like that. And, this is kind of like the whole reason I started my channel and doing this, podcast is like I really wanted an opportunity to talk with the guys behind Wookieepedia, like you big Star Wars fans.
Oh, and we've been having a blast just kind of making the rounds and letting people know a bit more about how the site works behind the scenes.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that. Like, you're not actually like officially affiliated with Lucasfilm and Star Wars. This is all just fan run and operated, correct?
Yeah, so Wookieepedia is entirely fan run. As a wiki site, anyone is able to edit Wikipedia either by creating an account or just by editing without an account. But it's entirely fan run.
Okay, cool. So do you guys like have a process for editing and stuff like that? So like I can't go in and say, Yoda is like a mutated frog creature that learned space magic from giant teddy bears. Like, how do you guys keep stuff from that, like from getting on the website?
Normally, we don't have too much of a problem with vandalism, but we have what's called a recent changes feed where we can see every edit that's been done recently. Normally, there's probably a couple dozen people keeping an eye on that at any given time. So you could put that in, but odds are it would be reverted probably within about 20 seconds.
Okay, that's good to know. You guys are on top of it. Yeah, I mean, Wikipedia is like the place to go for any Star Wars knowledge. Like I've used it many times for making videos and, just learning more about like the history of lore or something like that. And it definitely settled a few arguments between me and other friends. We have differing opinions or, what's legend versus canon and all that good stuff. So it's nice to know that there's somebody out there like safeguarding against all that.
Yeah, and we do our best to make sure that everything is as accurate as can possibly be. We have strict rules in place about sourcing, so everything that's put onto the site needs to be attributed to a source. So if you're adding something from a book, it needs to be sourced to that book, not just, oh, well, I saw this and this is what it is. It's okay, no, where did it come from?
Okay, that's cool. So how did you get involved with Wikipedia and like Star Wars in general?
So my journey started probably not too long before, I want to say before Revenge of the Sith came out. I picked up a copy of Heir to the Empire at a local used bookstore and just went down the rabbit hole from there. I found Wikipedia probably around 2006, 2007. Over the next couple of years, I made a few edits here and there, but for the most part, I just read. I just consumed everything I could. Then around 2011, I decided to take a crack at actually editing. And after you make that first edit, it's, oh, well, I'll just do one more. I'll just add one more thing. Oh, I'll just update this one more thing. I'll just this one more thing. And then, 12 years later.
So it's a slippery slope.
Indeed. And it's one that it becomes very addictive because there's just such an amazing, vibrant community behind all of it.
It's a very passionate community. I mean, it seems like every day, I open up social media and there's something going on about Star Wars, whether it's new relevant debates about, the last night's episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi or something along that, or, I mean, arguments that have been going on since, the Empire Strikes Back. I mean, the Star Wars community is just a very passionate fan base.
It is, and it is very passionate, and sometimes to its own detriment because people do tend to get a bit heated. But that's where we try to be that kind of that voice of mediation, where we just lay the facts out as they are without the emotional attachment, much like the Jedi.
There you go. Yeah, it's good, good to have you like just as the moderator for those debates, because I'm sure eventually they all end up on Wikipedia going, no, this can't be right. Like this has to be the actual fact.
Yeah, and there's just so much is just open to interpretation. We're a good place to kind of find that middle ground to get back to the core of what we all love, which is Star Wars.
Yeah, and I've been a big fan of Star Wars since I was a really little kid. I mean, back in the '90s, I got the original trilogy on a VHS box set for Christmas, and I have been hooked from there.
It really does. It's very addictive. It's a very very passionate. It's a universe that's very easy to get passionate about. It just kind of sucks you in.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite Star Wars film or TV show or anything like that? Or are you just like a big fan of the franchise altogether?
I generally tend to be just franchise in general. I do tend to be drawn a lot to like the early Legends novels, just because that was where I started. But by and large, I just enjoy all of it.
Okay, cool. Who's your favorite character?
I gotta go with Thrawn, just because
Good choice.
Heir to the Empire is where I started, and just his way of looking at things logically and analytically, it was just something that very much spoke to me. And it just kind of stuck with me.
Okay. How did you feel about his portrayal on Rebels?
I'm very excited to see what direction they're going to go with him in Ahsoka. I'm very curious.
Yeah, that first episode of The Mandalorian where Ahsoka's in, and she name drops Thrawn. Like I knew right then and there that the Ahsoka series was going to be one that was going to be really a big hit with the fans because Thrawn was that fan favorite character that was put in the Legends category and then made his way over into the canon after Disney took over. And I loved him in Rebels. I thought he was very methodical and analytical, and the way he was able to try and outthink the rebel cells. And it was just like, yeah, no, let them do that. I have a bigger plan in play. Was I thought a really really well done that they brought over from the legends, and so I'm excited for Ahsoka.
Yeah, and I think they really did nail his character. Just his mannerisms and just his way of thinking. I think they very much nailed it.
Yeah, for sure. So other than Ahsoka, do you have any other big Star Wars projects that are upcoming that you're excited for?
For me, it tends to be kind of whatever's coming up next. So right now, obviously, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Um, Following that, Andor, Bad Batch season 3, Ahsoka. It's
Yeah,
going to be a very, very interesting next couple of years.
I'm looking forward to the next few months. I mean, we've got episode 5 of Kenobi tonight, tomorrow, and then the series finale next week. And then I'm looking forward to the fall where we have Andor, Bad Batch, and Tales of the Jedi all coming out like within a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it really is. It's a golden age. There's just something new coming out every week. It is impossible to stay on top of everything, but it means there's just always something to be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everywhere you turn. I mean, and even after this fall passes, and we got Mandalorian coming out in February, and then I mean, if you're a fan of video games, you got the Jedi Fallen Order sequel game, Jedi Survivor coming out, and like it's just a good.
That's going to be
I,
fantastic.
I'm looking forward to it. I loved Cal Kestis, and I honestly was hoping to see him pop up in Kenobi, especially when they were like trying to infiltrate the Inquisitor's fortress. It was like there's somebody out there who's already done this, and the episode took
Maybe he can
massive.
help you.
Yeah, he's already gone in. He's already faced the Inquisitors. He escaped with his life. Like, where's Cal Kestis?
That would have been a very nice touch. But we got that. We did get that kind of that next best thing where you get to see a bunch of I guess Jedi corpses in suspended in some sort of suspended animation,
Yeah, that
which was a bit
actually
of a
kind of.
shock.
I was very shocked. Like, I thought that was a little dark, especially for like the Disney era. Like, seeing the corpses in the amber, and then especially when it cut to the one that was just a youngling, it was like that's a little messed
Yeah,
up. Like, what is going on in the fortress?
I did not expect that part. That very much caught me off guard. And then I started looking closer at them. And it's like, oh no, I know who that other one is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a moment that really just made me kind of like, wow, they went there. They really went there,
Yeah, they decided to go with Terrace Nube.
right? That was a good callback to the Clone Wars episodes.
That was a nice little throwback, but it was also kind of like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, no, where this franchise is, I mean, the show Kenobi, being post Rebellion and Order 66, and like we know all those fan favorites, didn't make it. One of the biggest things that I actually enjoyed that came out of the Star Wars Celebration just a few weeks ago was the Bad Batch trailer, and then we saw Genji, the the
Yeah.
the Wookiee Jedi Padawan. Like when I saw
Yeah,
him, it
I
was like,
wasn't.
yes, he survived.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people ask that question before, like, well, what happened to all the kids? Like, I guess at least one of them made it.
One of them made it. Yeah,
At least one.
but that was one of my big moments from Star Wars Celebration. Just watching it online, wasn't able to be there in person, but yeah, when I saw that in the trailer, it was like, yes, he survived. But do you have any thoughts on how the Kenobi series is going to wrap up?
I think we are going to get it. My prediction, my personal prediction, is that we're going to get at least one more Obi-Wan Vader fight. Obi-Wan is going to get the upper hand, and something is going to intervene that's going to cause the fight to end, and then that's going to tie into A New Hope, where you get, when last we met, I was but the learner.
Okay.
That's my guess. We're going to get at least one more good fight, and at least one appearance by another Jedi who's going to pop up out of nowhere. Maybe Quinlan, maybe another one.
I would expect it would be Quinlan if I had to guess, just because they name dropped him earlier in the show. But yeah, I see like fan theories and rumors going around, and I kind of had my own that Cal Kestis was going to show up, and one that I've seen get posted a few places is that Reva's actually just pretending, and she's actually like working for the light side. You have thoughts on that
That
one,
would be
or
that would be an interesting twist. I don't think we'll see that, just because she's kind of embodying what it means to be a Sith, with the betrayal, with the not trusting anybody.
yeah,
My guess is that she has her own motives for where she wants to be. I'm not sure it is going to be Quinlan though, because to be fair, they are very good at pulling a little bait and switch. They'll name drop one character and then show up another, then drop in another completely unexpected one.
that is true. If that's the case, who would you like to see?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Cal Kestis would be a great one. That would be a nice way to kind of tie in video games, because we've seen this kind of tie between movies and TV shows. That video games kind of always end up being their own thing.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind seeing something maybe Legends related.
Okay, that would be a fun one. Bring in a fan favorite from the Legends.
Yeah, or maybe even just bring in another Jedi whose fate was unknown.
Get like a one-armed Sam Jackson coming in as Mace Windu.
That would be a fun little thing.
right? I think the fan base would absolutely just explode if that happened.
That would be a fun one.
I mean, I would love to see it. I think it would also throw everybody off. Be like, oh my god, he actually survived.
Yeah, I could go for that. I could go for a plot twist like that. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah. But so yeah, so after like how is working on Wikipedia with a current show? Um like you guys are very much on top of it and up to date, and like you did a character profile on the homeless clone trooper we saw in the second episode. Like literally, I don't even think it was 2 hours after the episode came out. So like,
No, so
do you guys just like have people writing articles as you watch Kenobi?
well, the thing is, because it's all volunteer, people just kind of people work on what they want. And generally speaking, that for the most part ends up being major articles being done within hours of a show launch. That clone, I'm glad you mentioned that clone though. So fun story with that one. I was on a plane at the time headed towards LA. I had watched the episodes a little bit before my flight went out. And as I'm probably somewhere over the Midwestern United States, I'm looking at our Discord and all right, the article on the clone is done. And that was like just a few hours after launch. And it's just like, yep, not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched the episode, and then I think I went on Twitter to like just put my thoughts out on it, and yeah, it hadn't been literally a couple hours, and like there was the article for the clone, and everything right then. It was like, wow, they waste no time. That was quick.
Wookieepedia works fast. But that's the
Yeah,
thing that makes it even more amazing is the fact that because it's all volunteer, people are just doing this in their free time. It's we all have our own jobs, our own schooling careers, our own outside interests, and this is just a thing we do on the side.
that's cool. Yeah, I like I said, I've used Wikipedia many times, for making videos, and I always end up going down this weird rabbit hole where one article leads to another and leads to another. And I'll read something and it'll reference like another Jedi. So I'll click that link, and before I know it, 2, 3 hours has gone by. And it's like, okay, like that just happened. That
Yep,
went
and you
by
end up you
really
end up
quick.
somewhere that's completely different than where you started.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll put on an article dealing with a battle in the Clone Wars and end up, 3,000 years ago, somewhere in the Old Republic, and you know how this war between the Jedi and the Sith like transpired. And it's okay. I don't know how that happened, but here I am, and now I know something that's pretty much obsolete for all trivia games except Star Wars related.
Yeah.
But I really like how the website works, and it's very easy. I love the two sections for canon and legends, and it's just very user friendly.
That one was one that was definitely a struggle to implement, just by virtue of the fact that everyone's still figuring out what is this split going to mean. How do we present this best? Do we do one article with two sections? And after a lot of community discussion, that was what we came up with was the tab system, which I think seems to have worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I find it very useful because I'll read something and it'll be I slightly remember things differently or something along those lines, and I'll click the legends tab, and like the legends will oh yeah, that just confirms everything. I guess I had that different because when Disney took over, like well with Kyber crystals, like how the Sith had the red lightsabers, like they used to be synthetic,
Yeah, and then how they
and
made them bleed.
yeah, now there's this whole like ritual about bleeding the crystal, and you know rage and hate and pain and suffering is what turns it red. And it's like, okay, that was odd. I vaguely remember it being something very different. Like they were fake. They weren't natural crystals.
Yeah.
So when Disney deemed all the expanded universe as legends, like I'm assuming that was a big shakeup for you guys. Like you really had to put in some hard work to get everything sorted again.
It really was, and we actually did lose. We lost a good couple of users at that time, just because people who had been so invested in the now Legends continuity for so many years of their life decided to move on to other things. Others decided they needed a break just to kind of see how things were going to play out. And then once kind of things settled, then we started getting a much larger fan base. We get people that are coming into the canon, people who are coming in, then reading the Legends. It was definitely a very interesting time.
Yeah. So if being a fan of the Legends and like the heir to the Empire, what other stories from the Legends continuity would you like to see cross over into canon?
I want to see something from the Jedi Academy trilogy. That was always one of my favorites, especially when you get the Maw installation being the hidden Imperial weapons facility, the research facility.
Okay,
I would love to see the return of Admiral Dala.
good one.
Barring that, though, probably just I would love to see the. I don't expect it, but I would love to see the Yuuzhan Vong return or some sort of an extragalactic invasion where
That was cool. It broke my heart when Chewbacca died.
yeah, I would love to see something involving all these different factions that now have to come together and work together against this common enemy.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to pick from the Legends continuity. I mean, it absolutely fascinates me. First off, that there's all of that to pick from, and that they can roll it over, and then they can pick and choose the best parts and bring it in, and like they did with Thrawn, and
Yeah,
there's definitely something there that I think they can work with. Do you think that like Star Wars should move away from the time of the Empire and the Skywalker saga and explore the other portions of the timeline, like the Old Republic and the ancient Siths and stuff like that?
I think that would be really fun to see is some more exploration of the time before and the time after. I have to imagine they have something planned for that. Um, Eventually, though, we'll get there. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if maybe that's what they do with the Knights of the Old Republic remake. Maybe use that as a way to kind of bridge into that era.
I'm excited for the Knights of the Old Republic remake. Like when they announced that, it was like that's going to be fun, especially with some of the other other remakes that have come out in recent years. Taking the old classic games like Final Fantasy VII and
Yeah,
Resident Evil, and then just giving them that modern makeover. Like Knights of the Old Republic is definitely one that's perfect for it.
it really would be. And I've never actually finished the game. I've always meant to and just never gotten around to it. So you know what, that can be the push for me to finally actually do it.
There you go. That'll be a fun one. Just get a good playthrough going.
And of course, we'll be able to get high quality images for everything on the site.
There you go. Yeah, for work purposes, of course.
For research purposes, we have to have
Research
it.
first, yeah. Just hang a do not disturb sign on the door, and I'm working in here.
Important Jedi business.
But yeah, that looking forward to the Knights of the Old Republic. And have you played many of the Star Wars video games?
A fair few of the I've played, I think, a good chunk of them. A few of them, like Knights of the Old Republic, I just never quite got around to. The Old Republic is one I got partway through, and then I just kind of lost time and haven't quite got back to it yet.
Okay.
You just kind of
What
need the time to actually devote to doing it properly.
that's the thing. Video games, and some video games are, you know, you can beat like the story campaign in a relative short amount of time, but like to fully explore the game, like you could sit there for 50, 60 hours easily.
Yeah,
Just
just looking at everything in the background.
and that's where like I love video games, and I wish I had, you know, that much time where I could just sit and go through an entire playthrough or anything like that. Because, video games, I feel like video games have some great storytelling. And especially in today's video games, like the animation and the graphics for them are just top notch. And, but to put in, 40, 50, 60 hours, it's like, that's a big commitment to go through it all.
Yeah, and especially like I said, how everyone's a volunteer. We all have our own 40-hour a week jobs outside of here. We all have our own 40-hour a week schooling. It's hard to find the time to then throw in casual gaming on the side.
Right. But what are your favorite Star Wars games that you played?
I got to go with the original Battlefront 2. That was one of the ones that really brought me into the universe.
Good choice.
And that's kind of always my go-to when I need to just kind of unwind, is just pop open the Galactic Conquest and just go.
There you go. I spent many, many, many hours going in head-to-head battles on the Galactic Conquest against my cousin. We always would just, and we could never beat each other. That was the thing. Like we could take a planet and, I would conquer it, and then two turns later, like we'd be battling the same planet, and
you just end up going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, I spent so many hours playing that video game. Another one of my favorites that I played probably way too much of, the Force Unleashed.
Oh, yep. I spent many an hour doing that one.
And I mean, and even in this last, episode 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, we got little like throwbacks to the Force Unleashed game. Where
I was wondering how many other people caught that with the lightsaber igniting, cut down the trooper, and then turn the weapon off again.
And then it's all dark and
yeah. I was wondering how many other people were going to catch that throwback to the trailer.
As soon as I saw that pop up in the episode, it was like they're not only just referencing Jedi Fallen Order, they're throwing all the way back to the Force Unleashed. Like,
my mind went right back to that trailer where you see Starkiller ignite, cut them down, turn it off, and fade back into the darkness again.
I would love to see Starkiller pop up somewhere in the Legends continuity, or out of the Legends continuity and into canon, and especially having Sam Witwer, who's been doing the voice of Darth Maul, and like it would be really cool to see him come back and
that would be fantastic
to play the character again.
That would be fantastic to have him back as Starkiller again.
And Starkiller was such a hardcore character. I mean, his motivations were great. I love that opening scene in the video game where Darth Vader's, going through Kashyyyk, and you're just absolutely dominating the Wookiees. And then you get to the cutscene where you fight the Jedi, and the little kid takes the lightsaber from him. Like, it's such a strong opening to a video game and such a great story. Like, I would love to see Starkiller come back.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a character they did reference in the future, because he is one of the fan favorites. It was a game that had a very prominent impact on a lot of people growing up. I think he would be a great one to revisit at some point.
Yeah, and I really hope so. I mean, it was a big part of my childhood. Like, I played that one a lot, and it was fun because, like, once you got to a certain point in the game, you really didn't need to use a lightsaber anymore. Like,
you just start dominating with force powers alone.
I mean, force lightning, and just being able to pick somebody up and throw them across the room or off a cliff, or it was just such a fun game and so well done.
One I would love to see, though, I would love to see another Empire at War style strategy game. Something more modern would be fantastic.
That would be cool.
Or a TIE fighter.
TIE fighter. Yeah, another like video game I played a lot of was Rogue Squadron. Like, I would love to get another like Star Wars dogfighting game, and spaceships, and I know they did the remake or a sequel to it not too long ago, but
Yeah, Squadrons, yeah,
the Squadrons,
which was
yeah,
great. It was a lot of fun.
that was one I never played though. I haven't played that one.
It was very good, especially if you did it in VR. It just felt so immersive.
VR would be cool. I don't have a VR setup.
I would highly recommend. It is. I haven't finished the game, but the first couple levels of it, and just sitting in the cockpit of a TIE fighter, there's just something surreal about it.
Everybody's like dream come true. Who didn't want to like sit in an X-wing or a TIE fighter
Yeah.
or something like that? I mean, many hours as a kid playing those video games and going, I wish I had my own. I wish I had my own TIE fighter. But
That's where VR comes in and gives us. We have the technology now that we can actually have that virtual reality experience or that augmented reality experience.
yeah, I mean, where video games were when I was a child versus where they are now, it's like this is just next level unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, so do you have any thoughts on like or any on the upcoming video games or other than Fallen Order?
Honestly, I've been largely out of the loop when it comes to video games beyond Fallen Order. I'm not even entirely sure off the top of my head what is being made right now. There's just so much stuff to keep up on. Like I said, it's just a golden age. There's just so much stuff everywhere.
So much Star Wars. And you know what? I am like all for it. Like bring it on. The more the better. I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy to be a Star Wars fan and I love the franchise. I love the fan base. I love what you guys are doing over at Wookieepedia. Like it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on and talking with me and the fans and giving us kind of like a behind the scenes look at Wookieepedia.
We're always
And
happy to.
yeah, I like I said at the beginning here, this whole kind of channel that I've built and am working on is all kind of because of that one tweet you put out so we could talk Star Wars and I've been having a creative itch for a while to do something. So I'm glad that you guys were able to like, hey, do it and we'll come on.
Yeah, that's been one of my favorite things doing I do our Twitter account, our YouTube, and I help out our Instagram as well. But that's been one of the most rewarding things is just getting to see all the exciting things that people are doing, how people are taking Star Wars and then putting their own spin on it, their own interpretations and their own projects. And it's just been fantastic getting to see people's passions come to life.
Yeah, well, I'm greatly appreciative of you know the franchise and being able to have the opportunity to put my thoughts out there because for a long time before YouTube, I mean, it was just conversations you would have with friends and people you knew, and now like you're able to go out there and put your idea out there for the world to see. Like, I think this is going to happen, or I think that's going to happen, or I want to see this, and you get tons of people. Yeah, that would be cool. Or you're crazy. They'll never do that. And it's awesome to be able to have that interaction with the other Star Wars fans.
Yeah, and you can always find somebody who's going to be just as passionate as you are with just a single tweet.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is there's always somebody out there who's willing to talk Star Wars with you. But you know what? I think we're good to wrap up, and I appreciate your time and coming out and talking with us. And I would love to have you back on in the future.
For sure, let's do it. Yeah, thanks for having us on. It's been a blast. So yeah, let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I will talk to you later.
All right, sounds good. We'll be in touch.
All right, we'll see you later.
Have a good night.